Is Ben Shapiro wrong about Beto O'Rourke? And is his criticism unprincipled? For context, the commentary comes from Tuesday, October 16th's Ben Shapiro show. Prior to this clip, Ben was discussing the success Donald Trump has had fundraising for his re-election campaign, having already raised over $100 million for that 2020 Gong Show. First, I'll play the clip in its entirety, and then expand on my criticisms.
Meanwhile, Democrats in Senate races across the country are having trouble too. Beto O'Rourke, acting on the best ideals of his Democratic spread the wealth around campaign, he announced on Monday he is not going to share any of his $38 million war chest, even though Democratic bosses want the cash for more competitive states. So Beto O'Rourke is going to lose to Ted Cruz in Texas in the Senate race. Latest polls have him down almost double digits after the media have been fawning over him the same way they fawned over Wendy Davis, the former state senator in Texas, who then lost by something like 20 points to Greg Abbott. Well, now they are, for governor in Texas, they're doing the same thing with Beto O'Rourke. Beto won't share the money. Why won't he spread the wealth around? Why is he so greedy, Beto O'Rourke? He's like a Republican or something. The Texas Democrat told reporters after a campaign rally he will not spare any expense in his own race. He plans to leave all the money he has raised out on the field ahead of Election Day. O'Rourke raised from July to September $38.1 million. He says that he is not going to contribute any of that money to other candidates, which is kind of amazing because honestly, if he wants to ensure his future in the Democratic Party, he really should become a patron of the arts, right? He should be taking that money and distributing it to more hotly contested races. He's not going to do any of that. So that's a bad story for Democrats.
Is it though? All right, let's go through it.
He announced on Monday he is not going to share any of his $38 million war chest.
I think this is a primary flaw in Ben's reasoning. While Beto is in possession of the funds, they came from voters and donors who believed in Beto's campaign, or they donated to spread a message in Texas. Regardless, they gave that money for a cause and to a specific person, not to any random Democrat. To treat the money solely as his, without thought as to why or for what purpose it was given to him, would be negligent. Which is not to say that it doesn't happen all the time, but because it's commonplace, it doesn't make it any less wrong.
Even though Democratic bosses want the cash for more competitive states. So Beto.
All right, Ben. Do you really think anyone should be listening to the Democratic bosses? An appeal to authority from a party that you don't even believe in is foolhardy.
Beto O'Rourke is going to lose to Ted Cruz in Texas in the Senate race. Latest polls have him down almost double digits after the media have been fawning over him.
While it's true, of course, Beto has been given positive media coverage. That's hardly a surprise. I'm not sure what poll Ben is citing here, but it would be useful to look at those polls compared to the polls 6 years ago and see if the trend is the same. Looking at a YouGov poll done September 14th, 2012, Ted Cruz was 19 points ahead of his Democratic opponent, Paul Sadler. While in 2018, a YouGov poll done October 5th has Ted Cruz only 6 points ahead of Beto O'Rourke. While this doesn't prove anything definitively, one unusual thing is showing consistently in the polling trends in 2018 compared to 2012. There are far fewer undecided voters in the polls. It would seem voters may have a clearer idea in their minds who they support. I wonder what might have caused that.
It's not me.
This election looks far closer when looking at a larger context.
O'Rourke raised from July to September $38.1 million. He says that he is not going to contribute any of that money to other candidates, which is kind of amazing because honestly, if he wants to ensure his future in the Democratic Party, he really should become a patron of the arts, right? He should be taking that money and distributing it to more hotly contested races. He's not going to do any of that. So,
patron of the Democrats? Thinking of this as Beto's money is wrong. It's the people's money, of which Beto is the custodian. Besides all that, whatever happened to the fight isn't over until it's over? What Ben is essentially advocating for here is quitting, giving up. While it might be politically opportune to counsel our opponents into quitting, I have no doubts if Nikki Haley,
my spirit animal,
If Nikki Haley were down in the polls, I cannot imagine Ben saying, give up and donate that money to other Republicans. And where is that money going anyways? Well, let's take a look at some of Beto's ads. Interesting how his Facebook ads are targeting both the United States and Mexico, while Ted Cruz's are only targeting the United States. Here are two of Beto's ads attacking Ted Cruz on immigration and healthcare.
This election is going to decide the future of immigration. Republicans and Democrats alike know that we've got to lead on immigration reform. And yet Ted Cruz, he's the only senator to vote against moving forward with that conversation. He's vowed to deport every single dreamer. He's selling paranoia and fear instead of solutions. Let's protect dreamers. Let's ensure that we rewrite our immigration laws in our own image to reflect our values, our interests, and our experiences. I'm Beto O'Rourke, and I approve this message.
Ted Cruz vowed to deport every single dreamer. I sense a little hyperbole here. It would be quite easy to intercut Ted Cruz making that vow. Their choice not to do so makes the claim a little suspect, but it's still certainly possible.
This election will decide the future of healthcare. Ted Cruz has voted to take away healthcare from millions of American families. He's tried repeatedly to roll back protections for pre-existing conditions, and he shut down the government for 16 days because he thought too many people had too much healthcare. We, the people of Texas, we want to expand Medicaid, and we want to take the lead on guaranteed, high-quality, universal healthcare, allowing everyone to live to their full potential. I'm Beto O'Rourke, and I approve this message.
He shut down the government for 16 days because he thought too many people had health care? Come on, Beto. Were you a pole vaulter in college? Because that's one hell of a leap. Anyways, there are plenty of reasonable reasons to dislike Beto O'Rourke. But Ben's criticism isn't one of them.
Thanks for taking the time to watch the video.
If you enjoyed it, please take a second to like it, subscribe, or leave a comment. And I'll see you again soon.